So I had you guys submit your websites. We're going to be looking at a few things when we go through the websites here. The first is that we're going to be looking for kind of user flow. So like when you have someone come to your website, what are they doing when they get there? And where are you trying to send them to go? Well, we're looking for essentially like if you're building a maze or a pathway, we're looking for places where they might get stuck or they may not know where to go next. The next thing we're looking at is page insights and then kind of keyword research. We're going to be kind of checking out these sites. Now, in order for me to make this fair, anyone who's joining us live has to be live in the chat in order for me to go through their website. So if you're not in here and I pick your website, I'm going to skip you. So make sure if you hear your name, you comment really quick. Scott's here. What's up, Scott? Okay, so I'm going to put Scott's website in right here. We're going to take a look at the website first to make sure that everything is good and kind of go through what I see as I go. Now, first thing I'm noticing right off the bat, we might need to do a page insights test because it's loading slowly, although there's a very good chance that is... well, that could honestly just be Florida internet. Let's see. Okay, I'm not getting any sort of... Wait, there it goes. Okay, so Scott, the first thing that I'd say, like, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and just copy and drop this in here. That website load time was long. So you really want this to be like quick. Like if someone comes on your site and you're only giving them like, and they only really give you like 2, maybe 3 seconds at the most. I'd really like to see that under 2 seconds if it's not already. He says it should load stupid fast. Well, it didn't. So again, I don't know if that's internet or not. Okay, so we got a pop-up going on here. I don't typically like pop-ups, but if that's part of your marketing strategy and it works, it's fine. But typically when I see one of these and I'm on a website, my first thing is like, you know what, I'm going to leave. Almost immediately I'll leave. So it looks like when you go to Scott's website and this pops up, you get a free guide with 5 tips on how to choose a wedding photographer that doesn't suck. I do love the lead magnet you have though, like five tips to choose a wedding photographer that doesn't suck. I just think there's a way to do this without being so in your face. And that would be like a section. So kind of like down here, just like drop in, something where it says like, hey, you want my free PDF? That'd be good. As far as the page load speed, looks like your performance is up. Okay, so it says your first content full paint is 2.9 seconds. You actually want that significantly lower. So like we want to see this under 2 seconds if you can. So this is like one thing I would maybe take a look at and see like what is causing it. Most of the time with photographers, it's going to be like images. So you just need to kind of compress those images. If you don't already know about it, there is a few different websites that can help you with that. I'm kind of blanking. Oh, Short Pixel. Short Pixel is the one that would kind of fix this. Looks like your website slowed down. You probably just uploaded like an image that was just too big, honestly. Like it probably just needs to be 1 or 2 images that need to be kind of changed out. Okay, so looks like Scott is a wedding photographer in York, Pennsylvania. And so this is his main key term. Looks like, let's check and see if that's an H1. I've got a Chrome plugin that shows me what all the H1s should be, or all the H tags should be. And so it says York, Pennsylvania, wedding photographer. Now this is kind of like a minor thing, but typically speaking, you don't want to go from like a 1 straight to a 6 as far as H tags go. So like where it says words cannot express how happy we were with Scott, that would be, where is that? Oh, right here. So this is your H6 stuff. You actually don't want that to be an H6 right underneath in H2 or H1. It should be 1, 2, 3, ideally. So I would just probably set this as I'd set this as like paragraph text, then just modify the copy itself. Google is not a big fan of this. It doesn't necessarily hurt you that badly, but it is something you could improve on. All right, so let's go back to the copy here. Looks like Scott is a bold and authentic photographer for real couples who refuse to settle for cookie cutter. Cookie cutter what? Photography or lifestyles? I'd say you could probably change this a little bit just to be a little more clear. So bold and authentic photography for real couples who refuse to settle for cookie cutter images. Yeah. So he says, forgot about that. Definitely done for style purposes only. Yeah, definitely just change it to paragraph text and modify it then. I'm not sure if this is built on Cadence, but with Cadence, it's pretty easy. And then most other WordPress builders are also pretty simple. If, on the other hand, this is on Showit, you may have to do something else. I don't know. I'm not a Showit person. All I know is that that's a problem we run into with Showit a lot. Okay, so you may be worried that your photographs will look like everyone else's, generic, overly posed, and lacking personality. Okay, so this is the problem you're setting up for your client. They're concerned that they're just going to be like everyone else's photos. When you choose me, you're going to experience a purposeful process focused on what you truly value. Scott's on Divi. He's switching to Cadence next year. It's awesome. Okay, so when you choose Scott, you're going to get an experience, a purposeful process focused on what they truly value, which is great. All of this will let you live in the moments and savor your wedding day because you know your memories will be full of life, personality, and creativity. Okay, what I'd love to see after this, and by the way, this is great copy. Like it's solid. It really does work on a problem. The only thing I would say is like when you're setting up these problems up here, like you may be worried about your photographs. You're kind of giving them 3 different problems and you really want to kind of focus on one. So like if you had one that your clients are always talking about, I'd probably hit that first. So if they're worried about being generic, then that's like the biggest thing. Then I would focus on just being generic. Overly posed is kind of a different thing. They don't want to feel awkward in front of the camera. Generic is boring. Overly posed is too awkward in front of the camera. And then lacking personality, again, kind of boring. So you hit boring kind of twice. And I'd say like literally like instead of saying generic, I'd probably just say lacking personality. Just because it's like a stronger, like I can picture that a little bit better. Generic, I'm not really sure hits it right on the head, but lacking personality definitely like it paints a picture in my head. So right after this though, I would love to see something that leads to whatever your next step is. Now for a website, typically we want to see either going to like an about page, a portfolio page, or like in my case, I teach everyone to do an experience page that kind of breaks down what actually sets you apart from other photographers before they see your portfolio. That way they're not comparing images to images. And even if they do see your pricing before this point, or even if they do like run into your pricing, then they're at least making an educated decision to hire you or not to hire you. So I'm kind of running through there. All right. Yeah, Tyler says generic is too generic of a word for you. Yes, it is. The next thing is here, your awards are good. I'd love to see some variance here. So the not isn't really that great because it only shows that the not really likes you. I'd love to see some other things that maybe you've been featured in, maybe you've been picked up elsewhere, and that could be from like you could go submit some of your work. I know your work; it's really good work. You could get picked up for something somewhere else and show just a little bit of variance here. Typically, when you only have one type of award or one publication, this is a problem, but I know for a fact that Scott's work could get picked up. I mean, look at this amazing reception cloud photo he's got going on here. You could get picked up somewhere else. And so if you haven't yet, make that like a priority to kind of go get some different names up here. Clients like to see you've been featured in multiple places because at this point, it looks like maybe you just pay a lot to the not. Okay, so the next steps. Scott's got a portfolio. It says, fall in love with my work and see why over 400 couples have chosen me to capture one of the most important days of their lives. This isn't your stereotypical portfolio of the same old boring photos. Okay, so the thing about running someone straight to your portfolio, again, versus maybe an about page where you can kind of talk about why you're a photographer, why you're the best fit for them, or an experience page where you really do break down your process, is that, again, now they're just going to be looking at your photos versus someone else's. And I know that we all want to think that we're like, no one else can get these photos that are as good as mine. It's just not the case, right? There's always going to be someone who's close enough to you. And so I would love to see you focus more on like the sale side of it than okay, let's check images to images. About me, I'm all about cats, craft beer, chocolate chip cookies. However, it's really my couples and their unique stories that interest me the most. See, what I love about this one is that you actually did connect with like a few interests, but then still made it focused on the couple's stories. So it's like, yeah, this is a little bit about me, but realistically speaking, this is what I actually drives me to do what I do. So I love that. And the button's really interesting. Learn about the guy behind the camera. And then investment, get pricing. Not bad. I mean, like, again, investment's something that we all have to talk about. I just think like you're giving me 3 options. The person who comes to this website is first going to go, oh, I want to see their images. And then they're going to see they can see pricing right away. And they're going to jump right straight to there. Somebody says, hello from Pismo Beach, sick as fuck, but I'm here. Hey, listen, it's okay. I'm glad you're here. I hope you feel better. Also click the eCam link so I can see your name. So being that your portfolio is your first step, I'm going to go ahead and click on this and see where it goes. So see your images here, and then you've got one button. Okay, cool. So Scott did this really well. Scott, one, has amazing images. Obviously, we can see that. But the second thing is like, you get to this page, you see one image, and you have to go through, and then legitimately, you only have one button to go to. So it's like, here's the funnel. They come to the website, maybe via search, then they're going to go straight to his portfolio, then they're going to go right to his contact form. Now, the only thing I'd say that you could improve here, bud, is like if you make this this slider smaller, then you can see the button in the next step a little clearer. So like I would make this maybe 20% smaller so that button kind of brings up and I can see that that's my next step to go to right away. Otherwise, you're going to get somebody who doesn't know to scroll down because people are like that, and then they're going to go right back to the home page. So essentially, they'd restart the funnel. Kind of going back here, we got a testimonial, which is great. And then his contact form. Now let's take a look at this contact form, because I do think contact forms in general, they're really important, but also just like not intimidating somebody. So when you have too many questions, you gotta remember this is like a trade. So they have to see that what you're offering them is good enough to give the information that they're gonna give you. And so when you have a form that looks like it's like 30 questions long, that can kind of overwhelm the person who's coming in. They're gonna go, I'm not gonna answer that. I don't have time for this questionnaire. However, Scott did this really well. He put two forms next to each other, kind of broke it down so it looks a lot smaller than it is. Oh, it says, okay, so Dana, that's you. Awesome. So first name, last name, great. Email address, phone number, event date. Are you shooting other things besides weddings? Because otherwise I would just put wedding date. Wedding venue, yeah. So if you're just shooting weddings, just make this your wedding date. And I would also, this is kind of important too, estimated wedding date. Because they may not know what that date is yet, and they can give you kind of an idea. So then you at least know if they don't have a date, they can at least say, well, this is going to be like a summer wedding. It looks like if I click on this, it's going to give me an actual calendar. This right here is a reason for me not to fill out your form. So if I'm looking at this and I have to pick a date, but I literally don't have one yet, you're giving me a reason not to fill this out. So I would say making this something they can fill out directly is a little better, just because it's not giving them like you have to pick this date type of thing. This is making them make a decision besides making the decision to contact you. How'd you hear about me? Great question. This way you can track your leads. Love this. The Knot, Instagram, Google, referral, venue, referral, photographer, or other. Interesting. So you market a lot in the Scott or on the Knot, which is great. You don't have to. It's optional. Okay, so these are not all forced. Okay, I don't know that I know that right off the bat though. So I feel like this would still give me reason to pause. How'd you hear about me? Tell me more about details about your big day. What are you looking for in your wedding photography? So I like this question to an extent. I think that you should be a little more open-ended. So I like, tell me something I should know. Just because it gives the user the opportunity to tell me whatever they think is most important for me to know. When you decide what that is by saying, what are you looking for in your wedding photography? It kind of like, it makes me create an answer that you're looking for, versus me just kind of telling you as the client what's more important. And so the more open-ended you get, the more sales processes you're going to have from this. Okay, so then Scott says he's done over 400 weddings as a photographer, which is amazing and exhausting. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but that's a lot of weddings. So he lived in, so this is a little bit of a bio, then it's leading to his blogs, which we're going to take a look at really quick and see if he's doing kind of what we recommend, or if he's doing the old traditional way where you just talk about the couples. And it looks like, though it could use some heading tags in here, this is definitely just like talking about the venue, which I think is great. Again, the only people that are going to care about like the wedding that you shot with, like, let's say Bob and Sarah, are Bob and Sarah. Everyone else just wants to know more about the wedding venue. So like when you create those like, oh, we shot, Bob and Sarah's wedding at this wedding venue, and you're not answering any questions about the venue, you're just talking about Bob and Sarah, the only person you're selling to is someone who's not going to get married again. Hopefully. So great job here. I can see the work. Love that. Wondered farms, weddings on the blog. So then you do the traditional ones, which I think is okay. It's just not my favorite methodology of doing it. I think a lot of times these blogs are a huge waste of time. Realistically, you could pick like your 20 favorite images here, just leave this there, and then not have to write a whole nother blog to it. So back to the homepage. We've seen kind of, man, that really does, dude. I think it's the slider that's killing your loading time. So we see he's got a kind of like a client, like he's got copy here that's going to get in his client's head. Then he's showing off his authority by showing how many Knot awards he won. Then he's directing them where they want to go. Typically, I also like to just say make one decision per scroll. So like, don't give them 3 options. And then kind of running down here, you have a testimonial, then you have a contact form, and then you've got your links to your wedding venues, which is great. And then some helpful resources. Okay, so he answers 5 steps to choosing the perfect wedding photographer, which is fine, but it's going to be really, really competitive. The extensive wedding day survival kit, I don't know what that means, but I'd love to know if there was any search volume for that. The ultimate guide to planning a wedding timeline, which is great. I think wedding timelines are a great thing to write about. And then the blog, which is really just more of this, which is fine. The blog, the hotel, Hershey wedding. Good. Okay. Cool. So what I want to do now is I want to take a look and see kind of what other people with this term are actually answering and what Google's actually looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to type this directly into Google. Okay. And I'm just going to drop in your H1 tag, your main key term. And we're going to see what comes up. Okay. So a good rule of thumb is to check the questions whenever you're trying to rank for something. Now, if this is what Google thinks are directly related to what people are searching for, as they're looking for like a wedding photographer. And so you always want to check this. Now, most of the time it's going to be something about price, but if there's something in here you could answer on your homepage, which would probably not be how do you politely decline a wedding photographer. If there is something here you could answer, go ahead and I would go ahead and like follow that rabbit hole and make a section. Because these are what Google's already assuming is related to it. So again, let's see, is one photographer enough for a wedding? You could probably put that in there if you wanted to. It's not really necessary. And then is a photographer worth it for the wedding? Also, this would be a good one to kind of answer in there. Okay, and so you are, let's see, what do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're position 4 on Google, which is awesome. Means you're doing really well. Your meta description is pretty good. So it says award-winning York, Pennsylvania wedding photographer that specializes in bold and authentic photography for real couples who refuse to settle for cookie cutter. Again, I just feel like I'm missing cookie cutter. What are they settling for? Cookie cutter photography, cookie cutter weddings, cookie cutter cookies. I I want more information. Just like one word that kind of brings that sentence to a full thought. Otherwise, I think Scott's doing really, really well. Looks like he's already on page 1 for this. We could kind of check through a few other things. Let's see what happens if I click on investment. This is where I'd see like other people are going to go straight to this. They're either going to look at your portfolio or they're going to look at your investment, and that really, really does reduce the opportunity for you to sell yourself first. So, what about cookie cutter photos and experience? Too much? I mean, if that's what you think your client, so like I'm hoping that you're getting your cookie cutter thing from like what your clients have said. Typically, you want to go back through reviews and see like what they said, they were concerned about. Maybe even ask a couple of your favorite clients, like, hey, what was your main concern when you were hiring me as a wedding photographer? And then go from there. I'd say cookie cutter experience or photography is great, either or. I don't know about both because it does seem like it's too many words. But I would say most of your couples aren't probably not necessarily thinking about the experience right off the bat, but they're definitely thinking about photographs. So if you say cookie cutter photos, I feel like it would talk to somebody a little more like in depth. Like I would feel more connected with it. Okay. So we wanted to splurge on a photographer. Scott was worth every penny. I don't even know if you need that first part. We wanted to splurge on a photographer. Scott was worth every penny. You could probably just get away with Scott was worth every penny. Most popular wedding collections include 8 hours of wedding coverage, second photographer, handcrafted wedding album digital files, a reveal party, online gallery, and a slideshow video. Awesome. Love that. By the way, one thing I like to do, and this is just a complete, I do slideshows for my couples. The thing is that I don't tell them about that. It's just like a surprise gift. So it's not even something that I tell them up front. Every single wedding collection gets one. I like to show off that way. Like when they show up for the reveal, they're getting some sort of bonus right off the bat that they didn't feel like they had to pay for. So collections start at only $4,000. I don't know if you need the word only. Only just makes it seem kind of salesy, whereas like you could just say collections start at $4,000. Now, for those of you wondering, you could put collections start at, or you can put average client spend on here. Both in the past for me have worked. You can also put nothing here. I'm usually like making my pricing somewhat hard to find. Reason being is that I usually get the inquiry before that. So most couples add on. Love this, by the way. If you are going to create a page for investments, what Scott's done here is really smart. He's like, listen, the second photographer is important. The photo booth is important. The parent albums are important. The wall art is important. Now, for me, for my brand, I actually don't talk about wall art at all because I don't feel like designing it. Parent albums are great. I would actually say, though, that instead of saying parent albums here, you might be better off just saying an upgraded album or something, or the full story album or whatever it is that's going to be there, like your, in most cases, 10-inch album. Just kind of get them into, most couples do this. Kind of pre-sells that bigger album, but I do like that you're pre-selling the parent albums. In my experience, like a lot of my couples are not like big family people, so we don't really talk about parent albums too much, but I do let them have the opportunity to decide whether they want to add a parent album or do like an acrylic wall art, because that's more for them specifically. A lot of times I've ran into, like if I call something a parent album, some of my couples are kind of on the older side, so their parents are dead, so it doesn't really sell them to them. And so that's kind of my only kind of hang back here, or just like, hey, you might want to think about this. Then you got a contact form, which is great. All right, Scott's website is fantastic. There are a few things that I think you could kind of improve. And I'd really love to see, I'm going to click on your about page too, because we've already done most of it. I'd really love to see an experience page, but I want to see if your about page kind of solves that. But it's really about you. Are you tired of everything looking and feeling the same as you're researching wedding photographers? I get it. I really do. Love that. So again, you're focusing really, really hard on your main problem you're solving. Are you tired of everything looking and feeling the same as you're researching wedding photographers? That might answer your question for your homepage. I proposed my now wife in 2019. When we were looking for our wedding photographer, we wanted someone to capture and reflect our personalities and our unique relationship. After photographing over 200 weddings, see, you said 400 on your homepage, so you want to change that. It's kind of an annoying thing when you say how many weddings you've shot, because then you have to go back through every page and adjust it. I know the importance of capturing your most important moments in authentic and creative ways. You don't want your photos to be generic, overly posed, and lacking personality. You deserve photos that are full of life, personality, and creativity. Call to action. So you need a call to action right here. Just like send them to go to your contact page, because you might have sold me right here. Like I don't need to go any further at this point. So without scrolling, I want to see a call to action that goes straight back to your contact form. Because again, we're either going to send them to a contact form or a portfolio at this point. Yes, by the way, I do my slideshows through PicTime. Love PicTime. It's a wonderful tool. All right, so what are you worried about? Stressed about your photography timeline. So these are basically your client problems. These are the ones that you feel like you're spending the most time solving. Stressed about your wedding photography timeline. Disappointed in spending a ton and only receiving an online gallery. I don't know if that's really what people are worried about, but want your friends and family to be able to relax on your wedding day. Like that one. Nervous about posing and being candid in front of the camera. So the reason I said I didn't like disappointed in spending a ton and only receiving an online gallery is because I feel like when someone is going through a like the process of getting a photographer, they're not necessarily thinking about the aftermath. And so like there's just a better way of saying this. Disappointed in spending a ton and only receiving an online gallery, or disappointed in only finding one use for your photos might be a better way of putting it. It's like, okay, disappointed you're going to spend all this money on photos and you only have one way to use them. Or maybe even, maybe they're worried about investing in photography and not having something to pass down. I think that there's a more creative copywriting way of actually saying this. But what I love that you did at the bottom of all these problems, you connected them with testimonials from your clients. So these are like really, really great. This is like a really, really great process. Although I would say you can kind of cut these down, some of these. His home studio is beautiful. I don't need really to know that. This also isn't really about like getting prints. This is more about just like your studio. I think there's probably a better review. And if there isn't, ask one of your recent clients about how they feel about their wedding album. Your photos are something you have to cherish in the future, so make sure you have someone who can do the job, is willing to be there all day. That one's great. Scott and his team were a delight, and his assistant took impeccable care to make sure my cathedral veil and the train of my dress looked flawless in every shot. Love that. Nervous about posing and being in front of the camera. Every photo was taken organically. Nothing was posed or recreated, except for a few of our couples portraits, which we were told what to do so Scott could capture an epic photo. Love that. By the way, this is how I also work. I don't like to pose most of the day, but like there are small sections of the day where I'm like, all right, well, I want to get the best version of this. So let's kind of make this a game of sorts. So this is really solid. Giant review again. So literally social proof is big and Scott knows it. So he's like, all right, I'm going to hit a review. There was a screeching 2-year-old banshee child running around all over, and Scott was just there controlling the situation like a boss. Love this. Okay. So Scott, I feel like we've given you a few things we can kind of play with. Again, your page speed is like the number one thing. I'd just like go figure out what it is that's taking forever to load. I mean, the performance, again, it's not bad. It's 83, but I want to see this way lower than 2.9 seconds. If you can get this under 2 seconds or even under 1 second, it's going to feel like you're going to lose a lot less clients. And it might be that it's loading even slower on mobile or it's loading faster. I don't know. Okay, back in here. Now you guys know the value of these things. So make sure, again, I'm not going to do any ones that isn't here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, I think someone dropped a name, a website in here. I'm going to find it real quick. Okay. I feel like I need the Wheel of Fortune music while this is going on. Karina, awesome. Is Karina around? I don't think so. All right, let's try again. Hey, Erin. Perfect. Look at that. See, it's good to add your name, right? So we're going to drop this in. Oh, Karina is here. Okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do Karina first, and then we're going to do Erin afterwards. There we go. We're going to run this for a page speed test. We're going to run this in a page speed test while we're kind of running through, but we'll see what happens. Okay. By the way, this is a free tool you can use on Google. Okay. It's completely free. All right. So she's got some beautiful work here. Karina Danielle Photography. There is one thing I'd say as a former designer. All right. Here's the deal. Your logo does not sell you. It doesn't. Okay. That's not what it does. Your logo just kind of gives you a consistent look. So having this much space for a logo is a waste of space. The most valuable space you have on your website is going to be before anyone has to scroll. Now, that is like the brightest light, like straight in my eye. So the most valuable space you have in your website is before anyone has to scroll. So if you like shrink this down by like, I'm going to go with like 70%. So make it kind of much smaller. Got the Zorro mask going on. Cool. Yeah. So this is actually today, I'm not using any actual lighting while we're building out the studio. This is like, there's like a weird light over my door that's kind of bringing it in. Anyhow. So if you can, shrink this down like 70%, make it way smaller. That's going to allow the slideshow to kind of go up, and then you can bring in your Dallas wedding photographer for couples H1 tag kind of go up. Now, I do have one thing to say about your H1, and I'm wondering if you maybe did this based on keyword research. But is there another kind of wedding photographer that's not for couples? It's just something I kind of noticed. Anyway, we can see her work here is really great. She's doing a full slideshow. The one thing I don't like about the slideshow is that it's got a mind of its own. I'm not in charge of the slideshow. So if I was really interested in looking at one of these images, it kind of moves on its own. I don't like that. They've done research to find that this is one of those things that were like as a user, most people don't like it. So I would go ahead and shut this off and just let your work speak for itself. It's kind of like if I want to be interested, I want to just be able to do this. Now, a lot of these images are gorgeous. I'm seeing a lot of genuine connection. You've got that light and airy style kind of down to a T. Love it. All right, so we've got an engagement session. We have a portrait session. And I do actually, even though I'm someone who does not shoot vertically, I do like that you have verticals kind of mixed in here. So then we have a bride shot. Now, one thing I don't like about this bride shot is it's just about like you pretty much cropped out her hands, but also kept like little stubs of her arms. So I'd say even though I really like this image, the cropping's not exactly perfect. So this is one I maybe would rework with cropping. Because you're cropping almost at the joints. And then even if you weren't, I'm pretty sure the joint for her wrist would be like right here. And then you have kind of all this like wasted space above it. Nice detail, but this man's head goes on forever. So when you crop at someone's head, like right here where the ears are, it kind of makes like, even if he has hair, I feel like he doesn't have hair and his head just goes on forever. So that's something to kind of look out for. I do like the expression on her face though. This is really, really solid. I really like the genuine smile and connection we're seeing here. It's a little odd because his eyes are closed. For this, it feels like they should be open because they're not close enough for a kiss at this point. But I do like the image. Detail shot. My recommendation is never to use detail shots to showcase your work because the person's not making a decision to hire you based on the way you shot something at this point. Now they're trying to create they're making that decision based on like the style choices the other bride made or the other, groomsman made, or, whatever. They're making the decision based on the things that are in the photo rather than the photo itself. Love this wide shot. I will say her eyes are closed. It's, again, just kind of like a small thing. It's like, this would be better if her eyes were open because it would seem more lively. Love this shot of this bride here. This is great. And then we're back to the beginning. Okay, so she's a Dallas wedding photographer for couples. Most couples worry that their wedding day will feel like a long, stressful to-do list. I say take a second, breathe it all in. My intentional process and artistry, this is a Ben Hartley thing, will allow you to fully experience every single moment. So do a happy dance, shed some tears, and know when it's over, your wedding photography will be waiting. Memories ready to be relived tomorrow and for generations to come. One thing I would say that would kind of benefit here is like, I want to read this with intentional pauses. And so what I'd like to see you do is figure out a way to make this like one sentence, space, one sentence, space, one sentence, space. If you're going to do kind of the whole Ben Hartley thing, which is great, it does work. I just think that the way it's kind of showing here, it makes me like, I don't know, it feels like a paragraph thing. So right after this, again, same thing like with Scott. If you're going to talk this way, if you're going to start talking about your client's problems and then you're going to solve it, it makes more sense to have a call to action. So I would love for you to be sending them to an experience page, an about page, or a portfolio, something. Give them some next step here because you might have already sold them at this point. And if you have no button here at all, it's a problem. And what you might say, well, I probably have buttons down here where it says what to do next. The thing is I have to scroll to get to those buttons. And so one of the biggest deals is like people don't like to have to scroll. They don't like to have to do work to find out what to do next. You have an opportunity here. Drop a button in. Tell them where you want them to go. Especially since your next one is where you've given them creative burden. When we give them multiple options to do things in one scroll, which is what's going on here, you have 3 options. You're making them make the choice as to what's more important. If you have a flow for your website already designed, you're like, I want you to go to the experience page next. Then just let them go to the experience page. Give them something to go directly. You're not even really selling as to why they would go to any of these. I also will say this. Go experience over portfolio. The reason is that your experience is actually what sets you apart. Your photos are just like what the results of your experience are. So you don't want them comparing just the photos to other photographers. You want them to compare the experience first to other photographers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on portfolio and just kind of see where this takes me, what happens here. Good. Okay, so you did a really good job here. Again, if you shrink this logo down, this is going to solve a lot of scrolling issues. They wouldn't even have to scroll to get to the next setup to get to your portfolio. The one thing I don't like here is that you've given them 2 options. You don't need to give them 2 options here, okay? Oh, 3. You have 3 options now. All right, so here's the deal. They see your portfolio. They either need to be going to the experience page or they need to be going to the contact page. Most of the time, I'm going to recommend once they see your photos, you can send them to a contact page, unless your experience page is really, really well written out. But you got to define this. Like the idea is they don't see your experience page until they've gone through they don't see your portfolio page till they went to your experience page, and then they don't see your contact page until after they've seen the portfolio. So the idea would be is like, all right, they see the photos here, they've done the experience before this, and now you just want to send them to that next part of the process, which would be going to the contact form. So that's something I would adjust. Right now, you're giving me 3 options, and now I'm like, I don't know, where do I want to go? It's too many things. Okay, so back to your home page. See what's going on here. Okay, request information. You have a contact form. Again, one thing I'd really love to see here, this is what I'm talking about where it feels too long. If I have to scroll to see the bottom of your contact form, I am naturally going to feel like I'm doing too much. Like I'm going to naturally feel like I'm going to be giving you too much information. I'm going to just back up so this is not in my eye. There we go. Look at that. Okay. All right. So again, just like maybe splitting these up or making the contact form wider or something just to make it look smaller than it is. It's not like you have too many questions here. I think you've got full name, fiance's name, email, phone number, when are you getting married, where the venue they're getting married at, how important are wedding photographs to you. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is a silly question. Not because I don't think that wedding photographs are important, but they wouldn't be reaching out to you if they weren't. So it's kind of it's an extra question that feels like it's going to give you something to read back on, but realistically speaking, it doesn't actually give you that much actionable information. So it's one of those questions where I'd say like you could get away with just not having it, or replacing it with something a little better. So like maybe instead of saying how important are wedding photographs to you, maybe ask them why they want a wedding photographer, or what they're looking for in their photographs. So like for me, I have like a really candid style for the most part. I don't do a ton of posing stuff, but some of my stuff ends up looking posed anyway. And so the idea is that if I say, what are you looking for in your wedding photographs? Then I'm asking them what it is that kind of sold them on the site. The other thing I like to ask instead of this would be like, what about my work resonated with you? So that gives me why you're reaching out. How important are your wedding photographs to you? I mean, pretty much everyone that comes to your website is going to give you a similar answer. If they say like 2 out of 10, they wouldn't have filled out the form in the first place, right? So if they give you a 10 out of 10 on here, you already know that's going to be what pretty much everyone fills out. How did you hear about me? We've got personal website, Google, Facebook, Instagram, Wedding Spot, The Knot, Wedding Wire, Yelp, email, Facebook group, vendor referral, client referral, and other or unknown. So they don't know how they got here. So we're working with a lot of couples who maybe have dementia. Okay, interesting. You don't really need unknown. I think that's just unnecessary. I will say this: if you are on Wedding Spot, The Knot, and Wedding Wire, really start thinking about working on SEO specifically, or working on creating your own Facebook group. Because I'll be honest with you, I've done the math. We're going to be posting a video here where I actually run through the math on how much The Knot and Wedding Wire cost. Over 4 years versus like running SEO and actually getting that running. It's a lot. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $53,000 for 3 cities versus SEO. You can work in 3 cities and it doesn't cost you, I want to say the total cost is like 7-ish, give or take, depending on how much time and effort you spend into it. So just an idea there. Okay, so you're not on The Knot or Wedding Wire. Great, awesome. We don't recommend that in this group. So I love that you're not on there. Okay, you got a great picture of you. Hey there, I'm Karina. I would love to see this maybe above your contact form. Maybe even making this section here where to go next, like a little bit smaller. And then like on the other side, have like the photo of you, talking about kind of who you are as a photographer. Cause like, I do think the personality will sell them, especially since I've met you in person before. So you're saying, a Dallas wedding photographer capturing light, airy, and romantic photos of madly in love couples who value real. Feels like that should have been something that was above, like before I had to scroll down. I believe in the little moments like forehead kisses, dances in the kitchen late at night. Good, you're painting a picture for your clients. I believe in once in a lifetime fairy tale days where 2 best friends share their forever kiss, take breathtaking photographs, and shed tears of joy together with their family. Okay, so here's the thing about saying take breathtaking photographs. I understand why you said it, but that's your job. Their job is not to have the photo, not to take photographs. Their job is to be in the photographs. So maybe focusing on the moments like you were before and not worrying about the breathtaking photographs part is going to sell them a little bit better. I believe in timeless photos that are as artistic and unique as the love the 2 of you share together. I'd love for you to explore some of the incredible love stories I've had the opportunity to capture. It would be an honor to share yours. I'd love for you to... One thing I'd say about this piece of copy here, it's way too many I statements. So like if we were to go to, we can even go to mine, I guess, if my mouse decides. There it is. Okay. So we'll just go into here, go to Roy, or we'll have random emojis pop up. How about roythephotographer.com? So like this section right here is roughly the same kind of section you have there, but this is almost entirely written about them. The reason it's written about them is because I want them to feel connected to the ideas that I'm putting in their head, not necessarily me specifically right off the bat. And so I want them to kind of paint a picture in their head and then position myself as the solution to make that happen. So with yours, it was like, I believe, I do this, I do that. You do, I'd love for you to do this. It's too, I know it's a mini about you, but it's too much about you. Really, really start focusing on what the client believes or what the client's looking for. So like instead of saying, I believe in the little moments like forehead kisses and dances in the kitchen late at night, you're talking to your ideal client. And if they believe this because you believe this, then that's great. You can say, if you're a couple if you're one of my couples, you believe in the little moments like forehead kisses, dances in the kitchen late at night, once in a lifetime fairy tale days where 2 best friends share their forever kiss. Then just leave it there. And then you could talk about like other little important moments. But I'd say like this is something you can kind of rework to where it's not so many I statements and it's more about them. So then you have a portfolio or not a portfolio, testimonial here. Karina genuinely cares about people and she doesn't miss a single detail. Karina was seriously the best wedding photographer that we could have dreamed of. She went above and beyond. Man, I really feel like you could have seriously the best wedding photographer we could have dreamed of is probably a little stronger than genuinely cares about people and doesn't miss a single detail. Like, I feel like that's the stronger part of this thing, or maybe even a combination where it's like seriously the best wedding photographer we could have dreamed of, cares about people and doesn't miss a single detail. Something along those lines. I just really feel like seriously the best wedding photographer that we could have dreamed of is really, really a good selling point. She went above and beyond to help us in the planning process as well on the day. It is clear that she cares and is just as good at her job. You could not ask for a better photographer to be part of your day. Love that. Cool. And you've got a couple of these. Love that. So you could just keep this as one little section, but I would say maybe instead of hiding them behind next buttons, and your buttons could be a little clearer. Like, I don't necessarily know this is a button. I just see it says next and previous. It looks just like text to me. I'd make it more obvious that it's a button if you're going to keep it this way, or just put like two or three of these right next to each other, kind of like how Scott did where he was talking about client problems. So like if you were going back to Scott's page and we looked at his about section in the back where he was talking about if you feel like this, if you feel like this, if you feel like this, and then he backed that up with some social proof from his clients, that's going to sell better. And I think that could be a really good thing to put on your homepage. My experience as a wedding photographer in Dallas. So then you've got some awesome blogs linking here. We're going to do some blog checks here. Okay, I'm clicking and it's not doing anything. So just so you know, right off the bat, you have a problem here. I'm clicking on these and they are not sending me anywhere. And I feel like in my head, this would send me to like a blog specifically about the Mason Dallas or the Turtle Creek Park or Dallas Arboretum. You're missing that. But you do have a button here for top 30 Dallas wedding venues. Okay, those aren't blogs yet. Cool. Well, just so you know, like I would have expected those to be clickable. So get on that. And if you need help, talk to me or Tyler. We'll help you out. Love this. Cool. Okay, so yeah, you did a really good job here. Again, these are going to be stronger if you do link them to their own individual blog posts. I know you did 30 of them. That is a lot. Something that I've noticed, and I like that you did best by category here. I think that's really, really smart. Something that I've noticed is like with these 30 plus blog posts, people don't typically go all the way to the end. And now I have now I don't have enough light. Wonderful. Okay. So people don't go all the way to the end. You might be better doing a best of with like just 10, or maybe even just talking about the best of by category and then having, sub-blogs where it's just like the best type, the best in each type. So, this would be your article with a paragraph underneath all of it. And then you would have other supporting blogs where it's like, like historic wedding venues in Dallas, Texas. And then, and you have five venues on there, or garden wedding venues in Dallas, Texas. And you have five venues on there. And you can kind of connect those here. So going back, why do I keep losing my mouse? Oh, because it's dead. Well, that's going to, okay, never mind. There it goes. Okay. So, looking down here. Good. Okay, now if I click on this and it goes to Instagram, it doesn't. Good. Okay, so here's something that's really important. Guys, when you put your Instagram portfolio on your website, if it is something that's clickable, what's going to happen is that people are going to click on it and then they're going to go away. And we don't want them to go away. They're going to go to this site and they're going to get distracted. Like they're going to get notifications. They're going to get messages. They're going to get other things they can check, or they might see a reel comes up, and we all know you see a reel and then you get stuck in like a ADHD trap, basically. You're going to be on there for way too long. So those are a few things that I change. By the way, she's also doing this really well. So Karina Danielle Photography at gmail.com. I don't know why I just gave your email to the internet, but it's already on the internet. So one thing I've noticed when I was talking to some planners around here is like a really great way to piss off a planner is if the only way to contact you is through your contact form. Planners need your email or your phone number just to kind of get a hold of you right away. And so having this at the bottom or having it attached to your contact form so they can reach out, really, really good sign that you're not going to be irritating any planners or other vendors that are looking just to contact you off the bat. Okay. Karina, let's take a look at your page insights. Ooh, okay. So tell me, is this a show it site or is it like a pixie set, or kind of what am I working with here? Because these are bad. This is a really bad score. The performance is, yeah, see, it pisses me off for other vendors too. Yeah. So like this is slow, really, really slow. You want your page load speed to be under 2 seconds. Okay, show it. Yeah, figured. Okay, this is one thing I don't love about show it. Now, show it can be great and it can work really well, but also a lot of times it is one of the slowest loaders. And so, taking a look here, you might need to go through and fix a lot of your images. Your first content paint is 3 seconds. You want that to be less than that. It's 22.7 seconds to interactive. That's really, really slow. I would give up and go do something else if I was waiting that long for a website to load, or for me to be able to do anything with it. So, look into something. I know in Show It it's an option, but lazy load, which means that it's not going to load everything at once. It's going to load what they see if they got to the page first. So it would load as they scroll. Let's see if your desktop's better. Desktop is better. Okay, first content painful is 0.7 seconds, 3.6 seconds to interactive. Much better on the desktop. Mobile, you have a lot of problems, and the problem is that Google is going to focus on the mobile rankings first. So you've got something going on in the mobile version of your Show It site where you need to make them a little bit smaller. And by the way, just kind of looking at this, your desktop is better. Your first content painful is 0.7 seconds, 3.6 seconds to interactive, which is okay. 2.2 is fine. Largest content painful is 0.9. This is good. It's your mobile you got to work on. Okay, so go take a look in your mobile and see if it's pulling up the old images or if it's not translating well. This is really problematic. Okay. Anything else we can kind of check for Karina? Let's look at her experience page and kind of run through that. Okay. Your wedding day will pass in the blink of an eye, but these photographs will last forever. A little cliche, but that's because I'm a photographer and I see this all the time. Maybe there's something to the mobile versus desktop versions. Yeah, your desktop version is loading just fine. Your mobile version is what's really, really slow. So there's definitely something that's taking too long. There's some tools you can use to kind of see what it is. I'm going to guess it's images, though. It's almost always images. Maybe I'm a hopeless romantic, but I believe in capturing the little moments, like the way your mom cries, a little as she helps you into your gown, the look on your husband's face as he sees you for the first time as a bride, the way the two of you rest your heads together during the toast at reception. So there is one thing I'm going to say, and this is totally your call here, but inclusive language is becoming more and more important, and I'd say you're probably better off not focusing on the gendered terms, so like husbands versus brides, just partner's face. As they see you for the first time, because it's like it says the same thing and it feels inclusive of everyone, but that's again kind of your choice. I would just say you could probably use a little more inclusive language here. I want you to be able to paint a picture for anyone who wants to work with you. Okay, so inquire. Get in touch by filling out my contact form. Fingers crossed that your date is available. I'll reach out and schedule a time to chat. I'm so excited to hear what you're dreaming up for the big day. Love that. Secure the date. If you decide we're a great fit, I'll send you over your proposal, reserve your date on my calendar by paying your retainer and signing up your contract, and we'll officially be official. Officially official. I like it. Engagement session. I have both of you saying that was so much fun by the end of it. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay, guys, not everyone thinks of an engagement session as a fun thing. So make sure you're talking to both people. Now, typically, if you're talking about like a traditional couple, it's usually the groom who's like, yeah, the photo session is going to be like the worst nightmare of my life. So if you can kind of like pre-sell it and say like, it's fun, we're going to have a good time, they're more likely to want to do the session with you. Okay. So this is really great that you painted that in there. Your wedding day, fast forward several months later, and the big day is finally here. You'll be able to be fully in the moment, trusting me to encourage you and support you. Love that. And so the first time you asked to inquire, by the way, I want to see if I'm being right. Okay, no, you did. All right, good. So yeah, I want to say you want to put like an inquire button somewhere in here, but I'd actually make this a button. So like make it really obvious that they can click here and get information. I'd also say inquire is not really like the most inviting term. It kind of sounds, I know this is going to sound weird. To me, when the word inquire always sounds like a tax thing, and that's just a very unpleasant, it's a genuinely unpleasant thought. Leave me alone, IRS. So the like putting reach out or something would be like a better way of doing that. I see you got someone else kind of joining in and says, what's up, bud? I don't know who you are because I can't see your name. There is an eCam link in the group, but happy you're here either way. Okay. I was worried about everything, but I did not worry about the photography. Love that. No, you did a great job with the testimonials, the investment. Good. Okay. I think this is great. I think there's probably a more clear and concise way of saying what's in the package. So maybe kind of clean that up and, again, contact button. Okay. And even, by the way, even if the button just like scrolls them down to here, that's totally fine. It's a great way of doing things. This is now looking, it's kind of crazy. I know we're photographers, right? So the lighting here is now looking more and more interesting as we go on. Great. Karina, I think you did a really great job. There's a few things that I would work on. And again, just really hitting that mobile stuff is solid. I do want to go ahead and take a quick look and just see kind of what's going on with Google for your main term. Dallas wedding photographer for couples. I don't know if the whole term needs to actually be, and let's actually make sure this is actually an H1 because you have show it. Dallas wedding photographer for couples. The menu is an H2. Okay, so the menu does not need to be an H2. Okay, light and airy romantic wedding photography. Where is that? Oh, it's down here. This also does not need to be an H2 necessarily. Actually, I'm okay with that being an H2, but I want to see it underneath Dallas wedding photographer for couples. So what I'm seeing here, and this is a common problem with like Show It or like sites like Show It, site builders like Show It, is like you're kind of like it may be displaying correctly, but the way Google's reading it is not correct. So you want to see light and airy underneath Dallas wedding photographer for couples. This feedback is awesome. Great. I love that you're getting value out of this. I am going to go ahead and drop this into SEMrush, but yeah, I would look at this too. This is just like a minor thing you need to kind of work on. The menu does not need to be in any way, shape, or form a heading tag. Okay, so we're going to drop in Dallas wedding photographer. I don't think the for couples part is really that necessary, but if you want to have it there, it's fine. Looks like the knot, wedding rule, wedding wire. By the way, these are great places to go get backlinks from if you need them. Okay, the knot you can try and get a backlink from. Wedding wire, again, same thing. Wedding rule, you can definitely get one from. They're already on page one, so those backlinks are gonna matter more to that page because it's already related. What's the average cost of a wedding photographer in Texas? This is something you could be answering on your website. It's a good thing to throw onto that main page because Google already sees it. Now, what I would do is I'd throw this all the way at the bottom where you'd have to really scroll to find it. But this is something that you should be answering. Just because it's an expected result from Google. What is a reasonable amount to spend on a wedding photographer? You don't really need to answer that one. Again, we want to try and answer the one that we feel most comfortable answering. Can I pay someone to edit my wedding photos? Yeah, you can pay your photographer. Okay, Brides of North Texas, amycarp.com, Ellen Ashton, Tars Raven, PureSpace. Okay, so when you're not on page one, what you want to do is you want to go to all of the websites that are on page one and see what they're answering and what's on their page. Then you can take a tool like SEMrush, and for like, let's say we wanted to learn what Amy Karp was doing right, we could take her page, go into SEMrush. Was that the same website? Very similar. Okay, so then we could take that same... Tyler, I'm kicking you out. Haha. All right, so we could take that same website, drop it in here, and see kind of what they're doing correctly. So they don't have a ton of organic search traffic, which is great. They have a bunch of backlinks. So you might want to see kind of, you can do a backlink audit through SEMrush or another tool we use called SE Ranking, and kind of find out what those backlinks are that you could maybe get yourself. But we'll see kind of everything she's got going on here. So she is ranking for... her top 10, we're only going to look at top 10s. She's ranking for Dallas wedding photographers. So these are these would be like the keywords you'd want to like try and fit in. Now, not all of them because you don't need to rank for Amy Karp. DFW wedding photographer might be good. The Black Labrador Houston photography, you probably don't need that one. Just kind of checking through, just check through and see like what terms they're ranking for and maybe see how they answered those questions on their website. Okay. So next we said Erin. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Erin's website here. And then we're going to run through that one as well. Okay. Cool. All right. I'm going to run the headings check first because I remember that this time. So KL photography is an H2. It does not need to be an H2. Your logo does not need to be one. Okay. And so you could just let that be the logo itself. It doesn't need to be heading text. Okay, disclaimer. This is my show website still. Not all the manifest things are on this one. I've been just trying to fine-tuning a bit while I focus on the new site. Images are not perfect. Could definitely have more. Don't even try about the blogs. I have none. Listen, Erin, it's okay. I'm not grading your homework. I'll do that later in Manifest. No, but realistically speaking, if you're in our pro group, I do run like website audits on a fairly regular basis, and Erin's in that group, so she's worried that she's going to get kind of like legit feedback here. No, so this is a show it site. This is the one you're building another site, and you're in the middle of this one. That's okay. Okay, we're going to talk about what you did right here, so that you can bring that over to your next website. All right. So, just as a kind of a theme here, just keep in mind, this is not her main site. She's working on some stuff. So again, main name does not need to be an H2. Wedding photography, Newport, Rhode Island, that should be an H1. I'm assuming that's not I don't think that's the key term that we actually worked on. Grounded, lively, emotional stories, browse a portfolio. It's your next one. Boudoir experience, wedding experience, meet your photographer. I'm Erin. So cool. Okay. I actually don't have a problem with you having the boudoir thing in here. I think that's good just to show that you do offer it. Just to make sure that's not the main thing you're trying to solve here. So I'm going to move the questions out or the comments out of the way so I can actually see what's on the website. So taking a look here, it takes time, effort, and energy to create timeless heirlooms, but it doesn't have to. So I don't know that this is a good sell right off the bat. Okay, it takes time, effort, and energy to create timeless heirlooms, but it doesn't have to. I don't know how you would create wedding photos that matter without taking time, effort, and energy to understand this kind of stuff. So I'm going to keep running through. As a bride myself, I completely understand how planning a wedding can be. To put it simply, a lot. So when it comes to your wedding photography, you deserve better than just not feeling like a chore. Cool, love that. You'll think, damn, thank goodness we hired Erin. As I take things off your plate so you can take care of other things, other wedding things, or actually relax a little. Imagine that. On your wedding day, you'll breathe a little easier knowing I'm there to capture everything efficiently. So I would say we're definitely going to work on your copy a little bit here, because I like your pain points you picked. You picked like, okay, weddings are stressful, so how do we make this easier? But the way you're selling them isn't selling them as well as it could be. So it takes time, effort, and energy to create timeless heirlooms, and I'll do it all for you. Might be a better way to say that, right? As a bride myself, I completely understand how a wedding can be, to put it simply, a lot. The next line. So when it comes to your wedding photography, you deserve better than it just feeling like a chore, not feeling like a chore. I think there's just a better way of saying this. So when it comes to your wedding photography, you deserve better. Okay, so Erin says, wait, some of these should be updated. Wedding photography, Newport, Rhode Island should be the H1. Wedding photography, Newport, Rhode Island is... by the way, this space in the middle here, this line here, I know why you did this for visual reasons. Get rid of it. Just nix it. It's unnecessary. It's just extra space there. Okay, so then back to the copy here. You'll think, damn, thank goodness we hired Erin. And then you can say, because I'll take things off your plate, instead of saying because I'll take things off your plate so you can take care of the things that matter. You don't need to put other wedding things, or relaxing a little is fine. But I'd say so you can take care of the things that actually matter. And then you can say relaxing or spending time with your fiance. Like those are the two things you can put there. Your wedding day, you'll breathe a little easier knowing that I'm there to capture everything efficiently. On your wedding day, you'll breathe a little easier knowing I'm there to capture everything that matters to you. So because efficiently is not. I mean, that just sounds like you're not. It sounds bureaucratic. So you can be present having a grand old time with your crew, grand old time, with your crew and all the glowy things that come from getting married. I think you can be a little clearer in what they're going to get. So on your wedding day, you can breathe a little easier knowing I'm there to capture everything that matters to you so you can be present in the moment and have the best time with the people that matter to you. That's kind of where you can go from that. You can kind of modify what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to go exactly there, but I just think this is a bit clunky. So on your new site, make sure you're not following that. So Erin says the wedding experience is first, browse the portfolio, meet your photographer, and then the boudoir experience is last. See what happens when I click on this. Okay, so we're here. I will say without the arrows, it wasn't abundantly clear that I could move these around. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Make sure you have the right photographer to preserve the memories the way you want to remember them. Limit availability, reach out for detailed pricing and availability information. I would actually just say limited availability and then leave reach out now. I think that's they'll know what they're going to get from there. It's like limited availability, reach out now. This is good though. Okay, so going back here, we're going to go back to your homepage and see where you send me next. Your next thing you want to send me to, actually the first thing was the wedding experience. So let's see. Everything you need to know about working together on your wedding day after photographing more than 100 weddings. Okay, guys, here's something I'm seeing a lot of you doing. Like you're talking about how many weddings you've shot. I'll be honest with you, I don't think those numbers matter that much, because if you've done more than 20 to someone who's just getting married for the first time, that's still a lot of weddings. So the number thing isn't that necessary. You can just say your experience. You can say after 7 years as a photographer, like you can do, if you want to do numbers, do years. The 100 weddings thing, because like over time, this is going to get annoying to update. I'm just going to be honest, because I've ran into this problem. So after photographing more than 100 weddings over the past few years, I've really come to value the unexpected, intimate moments that take place on a wedding day. Love that sales piece. The unexpected, intimate moments that take place on a wedding day. The hug your mom gives you before you leave your dressing room, the tear that falls down your partner's cheek when they see you for the first time, the way the two of you lean together during the toasts. So the one thing I'd say is like with this split paragraph thing, it just doesn't read as, it's like not as, it doesn't flow as well as it would if you were just doing like single lines of text. This is about more than flowers and the shoes you chose. It's about celebrating. I really like that. This day is about more than the flowers and the shoes you chose. It's about celebrating the start of a new family. It's about, it's an honor to play a part in such a significant day, and I hope you'll choose me to be part of yours. It's about celebrating the start of a new family. I'd say this last line, it's an honor to play a part in such a significant day. You could probably get rid of that and say, there's just a better way of doing it. 100 plus weddings is better right now than 4 years, but yes, you're right. I'll get annoying later. Here's the deal. Like 4 years is still a long time. 100 plus years or 100 plus weddings is still a lot of weddings. Like, I don't even know that you necessarily need that. You can say like, I've been a wedding photographer for hundreds of couples. See, this is how you get rid of it. You don't have to say the exact number of weddings you shot. I've been the wedding photographer for hundreds of couples. Okay. It sounds like a bunch, and until you hit 1,000, you don't have to change it. So the wedding process, we get to know each other over a cup of coffee with a glass of wine or sweet treat. Love that. All right. So you've thoroughly come through my website, blog, and Instagram feed, and so here's the deal. Like when you say this way, you've made it sound like they have a checklist. Like they got to go through your whole website, then they got to go through your blog, then they got to go through your Instagram feed. And if they didn't go through all that, then they don't like what they see. I just don't think that's necessary. So you've checked the work, and you like what you've seen so far. Like you've that's really all you need at that point. What's going on next? Date secured, and now the fun begins. Once your date is officially secured, we'll send over a few goodies to help you prepare for the big day. I'm happy to serve as a resource for vendor recommendations, timeline, guidance, and more. Okay, so let's talk about this. Instead of saying goodies that they're going to give them, like you're giving them presents or like a gift basket comes to mind. Maybe it's better that you say something along the lines of like, you just focus on the stuff you're going to give them. You're going to give them vendor recommendations, timeline guidance, and more. The goodies thing, I think it's unnecessary. I think it's better to surprise them with that. So if you want to send them like a gift basket, or you want to send them on a coffee date, like I do for my clients, or if you want to do something extra for that, let that be a surprise. Like don't give it away before you get it. It's kind of like those people that like, okay, Christmas is coming and they can't help but give the gift before it's supposed to be given. That's a problem over time, right? It's not something that we want to do. We want to focus on making sure that the gift is actually a surprise. So you're going to give them timeline stuff. Great. Engagement session. Let's get you comfortable in front of the camera. Love that. Typically, engagement sessions are 9 to 12 months before your wedding, but some sessions can take place anywhere from immediately following a proposal to just a few days before the wedding. I found that there isn't a good or bad time to take your engagement photos. Change this up to just talk about why engagement sessions are important. This is a once in a lifetime thing for them. They only get to do this once. They're only going to be engaged once. Like Erin, you just got married in the last year. Can you take engagement photos again of yourself? No. You only had the one time. And if you didn't do it, you missed that opportunity. Why did you value your engagement session? Assuming you had one. It's okay. It's all good. I think it's okay with it being, so Erin says, honestly, the experience page is still like a template. It's okay. I just want you to run through these things so you understand as you're writing your new copy, right? So it's finally here, the big day. The two of you say, I do, and dance the right way, surrounded by your family and friends. Just know we're excited to celebrate and capture your wedding day. It's going to be awesome. Cool. Love this. Your images are ready about 8 to 10 weeks after your wedding. Again, I'm a big seller. You know this. We're in Manifest together. I'm a big seller. I'm just saying, okay, it's going to be 10 weeks. And then surprise them by being early at 8 weeks. Okay, if you want to do that. Or just be like me and just like, nope, nobody gets it any time before 10 weeks. We'll all get together again at my Warwick, Rhode Island studio for your wedding premiere. You can just say studio. Like, there's no reason to try and rank it for Warwick. If they ask where the studio is, you can maybe put that at the bottom. Investment starting price. By the way, for your new website, don't do this text thing. Okay, this cursive font that's really hard to read and doesn't like it looks like kind of bad penmanship. I understand why it looks pretty. It looks flowy. It's hard to read. Your website's point is to read the information. So just like stop doing this font thing where, I mean, you're not the only one. I've seen this on just about every, it's mostly female photographers' website. I'll be honest. Like it's mostly that guys are we're really basic. We're like, no, we just want it to be the most legible font we have. But here's the deal. If I have to guess what the word is, I'm not going to be interested in finding this out. And I want to make sure this is a very, very clear and easy word to read out because it's the investment page. It's the investment information. So switch this out from here. You can use it for like signatures or stuff that doesn't matter, but don't make it a heading font. So for investment details and availability, please send us a message using the contact form. I accept a very limited number of weddings each year, and the average couple spends about $4,800 on full wedding day coverage. Cool. It's great. The average couple spends. I like that. You did the average couple thing. I think it's cool. Send an inquiry. Cool. Again, send an inquiry. How about reach out to me? You've been really, really friendly throughout most of this, like the copy that you've written. So like, if you're going to be friendly, reach out to me, hang out with me. Let's hang out. Let's grab coffee together. And then just like point it down here. Because then they know, okay, we're going to meet for coffee and we're going to talk about the wedding. Great. Then you have your testimonials. By the way, I would take one of these, like this, beyond what even the best Pinterest board could do. I would really, really put that way above here, like where it says weddings, and then right in the middle here, you're going to hit them in the face with a testimonial, and then you can do the step-by-step process followed by the investment information. So this is really, really solid. I like that you have all these testimonials. I think you'd be better off if you just fill these out throughout the website. So like as you go through, okay, now I'm talking about this really important thing for my couples. Let's hit them with a review of a couple that loved this thing. Kind of fill it out through as you go. You don't need like the reviews page. Again, I've told you guys this in Manifest. That reviews page that I had, probably one of the least visited pages on my website. And also never quoted. Like it's just never quoted. But now that I've kind of put them through different parts of the website, I'm starting to see people really, really hit those a little bit more. The newsletter is great. I think you could probably do better than this though. We talked about what lead magnets are inside of Manifest. Lead magnets, again, would be something like your 10 tips for a couple or your email series on how to have the stress-free wedding day or something along those lines. I just feel like a newsletter, all I can think of is old ladies couponing. That's every time I hear newsletter, that's the first thought I have. Cool. Okay. So back to your homepage. Let's make sure that we went through all of it. Okay. Hey there, I'm Erin, your photographer. This is your About Me, fueled by equal parts sweet and swear words. I love that. Except around your flower girl and ring bearer. I spend my day alleviating my couple's concerns around their wedding photographs. By the way, this is good. Anytime you can get someone to laugh from your copy is like really solid. I spend my day alleviating my couple's concerns around their wedding photographs, heirloom keepsakes, and everything in between. Your story, your love is beautiful, and I feel blessed to capture it in emotional photographs that take time to slow down. Meet your photographer. Cool. And then you say like, get it detailed. So like, again, you say, meet your photographer. You're really friendly. And then you're like, oh, business formal. So get detailed pricing and availability information. No, meet your photographer. Let's meet over something else. Let's make this connected. So if the call to action is meet your photographer, then what I want to see is something similar here, right? I want to see some sort of copy that connects with those words that I saw, up there. The newsletter, again, old ladies couponing. And then you just have your footer. Cool. Let's see did you follow the Instagram advice? Love that. Okay. So they're not going to click on the image and go there, but they can click here and get to your Instagram, which isn't necessarily the worst thing. Okay. It's not necessarily the worst thing. Anyway, yeah, I think, again, I know we're working on your new site. And as you go through that, you've been asking questions, and I think that's awesome. It's kind of the point of it. Okay, guys, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do one more of these things, but first, I do want to talk a little bit about kind of what's going on with the group. So you guys have seen we've been kind of changing things up. We haven't done a Manifest launch the entire month of December. Erin's in my Manifest group kind of learning from us. They get access to me like this all the time. So like there is a monthly, for the newer version, there's a monthly live inside of the private group where we run through websites. There's going to be, the classes are a little shorter now. Now we're doing 9 weeks of 90-minute classes. And they get 12 months access to live workshops, just kind of running through different things. Like our first workshop this year is going to be all about blogging. Then we have one about website flows. Then we have another one coming up about lighting. We've got a lot of really interesting stuff kind of coming up. So if you are like, oh, Roy really helped me with this in this live format, and I'd really like to get more information, reach out to me. Just type in reach out in the comments. I'll message you or whatever, and I get you information on the next round. It is super limited. We are only doing one meeting and one opening. We're going to be open for about 8 days, and there's only going to be 8 photographers that kind of join in that. And so if you want to get in and jump in before those 8 photographers get in, let me know, because those spots are going to fill up. Otherwise, let's kind of pick somebody else here. So I'm going to try and jump in. I think we can pick one more, and then that'll be the last one, okay? This is the worst. Hey, look at that. All right, cool. We're at least going to get Thaddeus is done. See, it doesn't always hate you. Cool. We're going to drop this in. I'm going to run through Thaddeus' website for, I believe, the 350th time. But I'm excited to do it. I love seeing how excited he is for feedback. And you said no chill on this, correct? I just want to be very, very clear, Thaddeus. There is no chill on this particular version of this. Like, I don't know the answer to that. Cool. So there's a couple things Thaddeus is doing very, very well, right? Sorry, Erin said, good, because Cadence Advanced Gallery is being a pain in my damn ass. Yeah, if you need help, let me know. It's not. So here's some things I really like. First of all, he's grabbing my attention. This is a really, really great color. There's actually a whole theory on like using the right colors for buttons and using colors that really grab attention. And so what I really like that he's doing right off the bat is he's got his limitations right here. Currently booking limited 2023 and 2024. What I would love for you to just do is just focus on the current year. If somebody wants to talk about 2024, then we'll worry about that in 2024. You're going straight into 2023. And if someone realistically comes in and says, hey, I want to book you for 2025, I know you, bud. You're not going to tell them no. Okay. So what do we got going on here? So we have the Connecticut wedding photographer, bold and genuine wedding photography for laid back couples who want true to life storytelling. It is hard to read. So what I'm going to ask you to do here, bud, is for design purposes, you're going to take like an overlay here. You're going to take an overlay here, and I just want you to just drop the opacity, or like drop a black overlay on it, but make the opacity for that overlay like 5%, and that'll make this text kind of pop out. And then right underneath it, you need to put a call to action here, just like we just talked about. This is super hard to read, and I would love to see this more middle of the page. Also, I love that you're using one of the images from that wedding that we shot together. It's fun for me. Hey, I get it. Okay, so you're yelling at me right off the bat. Don't let the stress of wedding photography weigh on you like a pixelated block in Tetris. With the right photography, you can capture those beautiful, genuine moments of your wedding day like a boss and treasure them for a lifetime. Okay, as a gamer and Star Wars fanatic myself, I know the importance of finding the right wedding photographer. So you're talking about finding the right photographer twice here, and that seems unnecessary. It's like it's repetitive, and we don't need to repeat stuff to them. So as a gamer and Star Wars fanatic myself, I know the importance of finding the right wedding photographer who is all about connecting with you and telling your story. So you could say this a little differently. You could be like, listen, as a Star Wars fan myself, I know just how important a script is, or I just know how important good storytelling is. Because it kind of like it's almost like a tongue-in-cheek joke with the newer movies. So that's going to connect with those Star Wars fans right off the bat. But I'd say like this off the bat, like it just sounds really, really, really repetitive from the first thing that we learned. Okay, so when I'm your photographer, expect humor, good vibes, and big focus energy on your story. Big focus energy seems a little too much. Like I would just kind of rework this. So when I'm your photographer, expect humor, good vibes, and a huge focus and sole focus on your story. So you can relax, kick back, and unapologetically be yourselves worry-free. The rest of that I liked. Ready to bring your story to another level? Talk to me, Goose. Love that. Again, so Thaddeus, what Thaddeus does really well here is he is trying to connect very, very clearly to the type of couples he wants to work with. And those type of couples, they're people who are into sci-fi. They're people who are into comics and games and stuff. And so he's like, hey, listen, I'm the dude, right? He's also kind of hitting maybe an older generation with Talk to Me, Goose. Thank God we had a new Top Gun come out. Otherwise, nobody would know what this is about. But realistically speaking, I really like this call to action. Ready to bring your story to another level? Talk to me, Goose. Hey there, I'm TJ. I'm a tattooed coffee connoisseur, Wookiee linguist, and stalker of light that has a set of chops that make Wolverine cry. This is really fitting to you, bud. Hey, I'm not for everyone, and that is okay. You deserve a wedding photographer you can connect with. Let's not unsell you right off the bat. I would just say, like, you deserve a wedding photographer you can connect with that will take care of you far beyond your wedding photography needs. You don't need, I am not for everyone. I'm more like the cool, laid-back friend. Okay, here's a good rule. All right, these are just genuine rules in life. If you have to tell people you're funny, you're not funny. If you have to tell people you're cool, you're not cool. Okay, so don't say I'm the cool, laid-back friend. Like, no, that's unnecessary. Like, I'm more like the laid-back friend you invite to your wedding. Cool is unnecessary. Cool creates expectations. So you know the ones who always bring the humor and dance moves. I'm all about having fun, getting creative, and making sure you are a true reflection of who you are as a couple. Love that. As a passionate storyteller, I only take a limited number of weddings each year to ensure that every wedding story gets the personalized attention and care it deserves. So what I love about this, because I've seen your wedding kind of go through and do a lot of, you've done a lot of copy changes. What I love about what you have here is it's still you, but it's not in your face. So to give you guys some context, back when Thaddeus wrote his first set of copy and I told him just to go like full send with it, I'm pretty sure like the copy was pretty close to like, if I'm not the wedding photographer, if I'm not the right wedding photographer for you, then fuck you. No, we don't need that kind of thing, but that's literally what it felt like. Erin says, I'm a cool dad. Yeah, it does come across as like I'm a cool dad. So then he has trusted and featured by Carrots and Cake, expertise, fearless wedding photographers, wedding maps, masters of wedding photography. I'd actually put this like right below your this copy right here. So where it says "Talk to me, Goose" underneath it, trusted and featured in. But instead of saying trusted and featured in, I would say award. Let's say wedding photography. Where are you at again? I don't know. Connecticut? Yeah, Connecticut wedding photography featured in. Okay. Because it's another opportunity for a keyword. So it takes some time to get to know you and what you want to remember. Great. Love that. Your experience. It's all about creating a personalized and meaningful experience for you and your partner. Think of me as your own Obi-Wan. I'm with you every step of the way. Great. So we're hitting more of those like key things. I wouldn't be surprised if you start ranking for some of these terms in general. Like very, very broad terms. I want to hear about all your favorite movies, TV shows, and hobbies. Do you have a shared love for all things Harry Potter? Let's get the focus back in this experience section to be a little bit more about their wedding. I want to hear about all your favorite movies, TV shows, and hobbies, but also talk about like and what's important to you for your wedding day, because you really have not been talking about the wedding day here, and you're a wedding photographer. You're not running a podcast for couples, though that would be pretty cool. Are you both diehard Star Wars fans, or maybe you bonded over your shared love of The Office? By the time your big day rolls around, we'll feel like old friends, or maybe even part of the wedding party. I'd say you're probably better off with just being part of the wedding party. Yeah, Tyler says, featured Connecticut wedding photographer trusted by. Yeah, that's really good. Learn more about the process. I'd say learn more about my process here. Top wedding photographer in Connecticut. Here's my promise to you. In a world where AI is everywhere. So now we're getting into, like, I need to put on a tinfoil hat. Literally almost every NS5 territory. No idea what the hell that is. I'm a real human being who loves connecting with my couples and learning all about their story in doing so to connect. Okay, so good. So you're talking about this, and then you're talking about how you build these things out. These should be one sentence each. Dedication, connection and trust, real moments, 0% judging. I want to see you just put one sentence for all these. So if you can't get it down in one sentence, then you need to refine what you mean by it. Okay? Your moments deserve more than a social media post. Love this. Looks like you took some photos of an album that you created. iRobot. Geez, listen, I haven't watched iRobot since probably 2006. So you're talking, so this is good. You're pre-selling your couples about wedding albums. I think, again, maybe lower the copy just a little bit. And also just like cool it a little bit on this, on the references to things. Like it's, I like that you have them in here, but I also think you can do it. You can overdo it, and you're kind of overdoing it. Where do I photograph? Probably okay. But again, maybe, I guess, yeah, for Connecticut, this might make sense. So, maybe instead of where do I photograph, see if there's some sort of term you could look for. Maybe it's like, will you travel, or will you do destination weddings? And you can say, like, I photograph weddings all over Connecticut, surrounding states such as Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and all over New England. Yeah, you definitely need to reduce it by like 50%. Real moments. Love this. Also, I just want to say again, the copy changes you've made, the legibility of the text you made from like when we first did your review to this is really, really good and good. And then you have next steps, which is great. And again, you hit me with talk to me goose again. So like Erin, this is something I kind of saw on your site where it was like, okay, we're going to be really friendly and then we're going to hit you with like business terms. But look at what Thaddeus is doing. Your next steps or reach out. Talk to me goose is like, he's sticking with it. He's like, listen, I've got a theme and I'm going to just do this theme. Contact form is small, like we like. Your names, pronouns, spouse name, email address, phone number. How did you find me? Wedding date. Why do you want wedding photography? What are you looking for in your photographs? Or why do you value wedding photography? Why do you like my photography? What about my work resonated with you? What about why did you connect with me? Something along those lines would be better. Anything else I should know is good. Deal breaker. My favorite question that's always on your website is a hot dog, a sandwich, or a taco. And my answer to that will always be a hot dog is just gross. So we're gonna go back up at the top here. I'm gonna click on the Talk to Me Goose button. See what it does. It sends me here. I don't know that this is the best page. This is the best picture to kind of put here. This is just a very sweaty gentleman, and I have no idea if this is from a wedding or not. What happens next? Availability check, the sorting hat, fellowship. Love this. Okay, these are all connected. Well, except for availability check, these are all connected to nerdy things, which is great. Geeky things, nerdy. I don't know if it's geeky or nerdy. One of those two things. Every couple has their own story to tell and deserves the right photographer to help tell it. I'd probably say like you could put the contact form above this and then have this below it. And then you are connecting them to the investment page. Wedding photography is an investment, so if you still need help decide how much you should invest in wedding photography, take a look at this article I wrote. You need to capitalize that I about how you should approach investing in your wedding photography. Go through your website, by the way, with the tool Grammarly, and it should help you with most of those little like things you might have missed. So cool. Sends them over to this article here. And then we're going to do a speed test for you, which I know should be good because you've been working on this for so long. And if I didn't catch on that it was slow, then it's on me at this point. So what do we got going on? Okay, so this might actually take a minute. We'll go back to your website. So the other thing I could say is like maybe taking your CT, your Connecticut wedding photographer thing here, and I want to kind of just drop this into Google and see kind of what's coming up for you as well. See if you can't find anything that you can answer. How much do wedding photographers cost in CT? You could technically link to your investment article here. So like you could put at the bottom, how much do wedding photographers cost in Connecticut? And then you would literally link to I wrote a whole article about how much you should invest in your wedding photography. And then they can go to that article there. How much is Joseph? I don't know who that is. Is a wedding photographer worth it for a wedding? By the way, guys, okay, we're looking at this. I've looked through a couple websites, and what do we notice? Like Google really thinks that is a wedding photographer worth it for a wedding is related to the wedding photographer term. So why don't we go ahead and just start answering this on our websites? Like this is consistent across the board. So this means this should be like a bare minimum of something you have on your website. Then it talks about timelines. So maybe you say like, hey, this is how much time I recommend for my couples. Put it on your homepage. See what happens. People also ask, is 8 hours of wedding, why you need a professional? Okay, great. Those are all roughly the same. Affordable wedding photographers in CT, best wedding photographers, New Haven wedding photographer, Connecticut wedding photographers, family photographers. Cool. Okay. So those are a few things for you, bud. I think you need to add those in. Okay. Performance on mobile is shit. Okay. 52 is not good. First content painful, 3.1 seconds. You need to like see what's causing that to load so slowly. So you need to fix that. Time to interactive, 5.9 seconds. This is also fairly slow. Largest content painful is 5.8 seconds. So you need to see what's taking forever to load and maybe lower it down. Maybe see if your images actually did get optimized by short pixel. Okay. By the way, when you're naming your images in Google and you're naming it for your website, what I want you guys to use is like, if you're using a search term for those images, like you want to do like Connecticut wedding photographer as the name of that photo, you want to do dashes and not underscores. I used underscores for the longest time and just found out from a few articles I've been reading that like Google really likes hyphens. Let's take a look at your desktop speed though. Okay, your desktop speed is super blazing fast, which is great. But most of the people are coming to you via mobile. Just be honest, most of your traffic is going to be mobile. So definitely take a look into this, kind of figure out what's going on. See if it's got any. Use video formats for animated content. This is a big one. what the hell is animated? So if something's animated on your site, I'm just going to say this, get rid of it. It's not that impressive. Get rid of any sort of animation that's coming on. Again, if you're using Show It, you might find that you have something that is animated coming in. Eliminate render blocking resources. This looks like this is related to animating stuff. Preload largest content mobile. Okay, so it is your header image that's actually causing that is a fairly long time to load it. So you could just make this a lot faster. Look and see if Show It's actually animating something for you and you don't want it to. Just kind of like take a deep dive for it. You're doing really well in your SEO though. You're doing really well on your best practices. Accessibility, performance is where you really need to work on this. And I think if you get this up to like 70%, maybe 80%, you're going to start seeing a lot more traffic coming in. Anyhow, listen guys, this has been a very long live. This was supposed to be a half hour and that didn't happen at all. If you guys want more content like this, let me know in the comments like, hey, this was really valuable. I learned a lot. I'll do these more often, maybe like once a month. But if you really do want to have your website work through, if you really want to learn how to sell some stuff, we are launching again. Manifest is coming in January. Keep an eye out for that launch. We're only going to have 8 photographers. We are only going to be doing one launch every like 2 months for this kind of stuff. So if you don't get in, you're going to be pushing yourself another 2 months back. With it, you're going to get monthly website audits inside of the live groups. You get to see these all the time, no matter what. You're also going to be seeing, we have 12 workshops planned for the year. We're going to be doing legitimately one new workshop a month that is only available to people inside of Manifest. Otherwise, you'll have to pay for it separately. And then we also have what we're creating, which is called the Video Vault, which is going to have just a ton of like resources for you to kind of be going through. It's been kind of a massive build that I've been working on for a while. So again, if you guys got help, let me know. I would love to work with you in the future. And if you had a good time, let us know. We'll do more of these, okay? Hey, if you like this content and you want to see more like it, do me a favor and do one of 3 things. Either leave me a like on here, a comment so that the video gets recommended to other people like you, or share this on one of your social feeds. Super helpful either way. Appreciate you always. That sounded fake.